What I'm going to talk about next is navigating 3D space. There is an entire ribbon interface that is dedicated towards helping you navigate 3D space and change how you can view your drawing. Civil 3D also has several keyboard shortcut commands built into it. Historically, the user of CAD had to memorize all of these commands. As time progressed, Autodesk learned this made CAD unfriendly for new users of this program. Like Microsoft, they implemented a ribbon interface, pulling out all of the commands into buttons easily accessible and visible. As you can see here, we have pan, a little drop down here next to orbit. There's 3 different ways that we can orbit. There's several ways that we can basically zoom in, zoom out, or extend views. So all of those commands have been pulled out so you don't have to memorize what the commands are. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is 2D navigation controls. You can click on these buttons, of course, to activate the 2D navigation controls. This will allow you to pan, orbit, and zoom. Next to orbit and extent is a triangle indicating a drop-down menu. So this is something that I clicked on earlier. And these are different ways that you can basically zoom. There's also what they call the view cube over here on the right side of the interface. This is another way that you can interactively, kind of like a steering wheel, navigate around 2D space. It will also allow you to navigate around in 3D space as well. There's also keyboard shortcuts. You can use your mouse as well. You can use your... Let me draw a square in here, just so that we can have some kind of frame of it. Because if I zoom in and out, you're not going to know that I'm actually zooming in and out until we actually see an object in here. Okay, so if I scroll my mouse, my wheel, if I move it away from me, I'm zooming in. If I move my middle finger towards me, that's my scroll, it's zooming out. If I want to pan, I can hold down that middle mouse button and drag my mouse around, and it will actually pan around. Now, if I want to look at this in 3D view, I actually have to hold down my Shift key and my middle mouse button. You notice how my cursor now changes, and so does my UCS icon on the lower left, and I can rotate around. And notice how my view cube also changes. So this is a great way to also learn how the view cube works, how those different views, what they correspond to. One thing that you also might want to notice is that this is an orthogonal view. This what we see over here in this view space. This is not in 3D view. This is an orthogonal view. So if I rotate again, and what that basically means is the distance from this corner here to this corner over here is visually the same. If I was to take a ruler and put it on my LCD panel, it's the same as this distance here from this distance here. Now, if this was in perspective view, and if I took a ruler and I put it on my screen, on my LCD panel, I would find that this distance here from this distance here would be much shorter than the distance from here to here. So that's kind of important to take note of. So as you're working with 3D drawings, it can be kind of deceptive, kind of deceiving where you're placing objects. It's kind of like that little message that you see in your rearview mirror if you're driving, that says objects may appear closer to you than what they actually are. It's kind of like the same concept as that. So let's just say now I want to go back to plan view. So I'm going to type in PLAN. And before I press enter, I want you to look at my UCS icon over here on the lower left. And I'll talk about what UCS means here pretty soon. Notice that it says X, Y, and Z. So X is going in that direction. So this is the X. And Y. And the X direction is going in this direction, so this side is X, and Z is pointing up. So now as soon as I type in plan, and by typing in plan, it's going to ask me what coordinates I want to go, and I'm just going to go with the current UCS. So this takes me back to plan view. So basically now Z is pointing towards me, and now X is to my right, and Y is pointing up. So I do want to mention that you also have this command line, and most people are usually afraid to use it. So I'm going to click down here, and I'm going to type Z because zoom starts with a Z. And as soon as I type in Z, I have a little, what they call code helper, that pops up over here on the right side. And if I roll my mouse over one of them, it kind of gives me a quick definition of what that's all about. And if I hold my mouse there long enough, it gives me an extended definition of what that means. It also tells me if I press F1, it's going to give me help that is specifically targeted for the zoom. So let's do ZE, which I know stands for zoom extent. I'm going to hold my mouse there for a little bit. May or may not do it. Probably not for ZE. So let's try ZD. And it says specifies a point location using azimuth distance. I'm going to press F1 and see what we get. We'll just pretend we don't really know what that means. We need more information. And right now I don't have internet connection where I'm at, so it says it cannot find the page. But normally it would take you to where that particular information is located at on Autodesk's help site. So I'm just going to hit escape for now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go down at the bottom. I'm going to type Z and press enter because something's going to happen here. And what happens is we just basically said, okay, I want to zoom. And CAD is asking us, okay, there's several different ways that you can zoom. Which way would you like to zoom? So we can do a zoom all, zoom center, zoom dynamic, zoom extend, zoom previous, scale, window, object, or real time. So let's just see what happens if we just press enter. And our cursor changes to a plus or minus, meaning that we can just press down the left click on our mouse and just roll it around to zoom in and out. So this is what it's meant by real time. This is also another quick way to learn CAD commands, what they mean. So I'm going to do Z again and press enter. And these little commands here, these are called sub-option commands. So let me just click on extents. You can actually click on them. And I think in previous releases you couldn't do that. And in previous releases these weren't interactable. It was like there was just a list here and you had to type in the one that you wanted. Now you can just click on the thing that you want. So I want extents. So as soon as I click extents, we see that the object that's in my drawing view is now extended to the full area of my drawing view. Let me do Z again. And let me see zoom center. Let's see what that does. It says specify a center point. I wonder if I can just click somewhere. Let me just click there and see what happens. And maybe click there. Just press enter. So that's what it does. So I just want to mention that there's more than one way to do things, just like there's more than one way to open computer on Windows, and there's more than one way to copy and paste a file in Civil 3D or CAD. There's more than one way to do a zoom operation, and many of their operations usually has more than one way to do it.